Let's address the elephant in the room. When developers hear the words lightweight framework, they immediately think small. This leads many to assume it must be some kind of toy project or learning tool. The assumption goes like this. Enterprise applications require enterprise frameworks, meaning large, feature-heavy systems with expansive ecosystems. Trongate, with its deliberately minimal footprint, must therefore be suitable only for simple projects or educational purposes. This conclusion isn't just wrong, it's backwards. History has shown us time and time again that the frameworks that scale most reliably are those built on disciplined minimalism, not accumulated complexity. And the evidence for this claim isn't theoretical, it's everywhere you look in modern infrastructure. Consider the technologies that currently power the Internet's most demanding systems. For example, Linux, a hobby project by a Finnish student that now runs 96.3% of the world's top 1 million servers. It powers every Android device, and it manages workloads that would have previously been considered impossible for a small operating system. Nginx, a lightweight alternative to Apache that now serves more than 400 million websites. It also handles some of the highest traffic loads on the internet. Redis, a deliberately simple in-memory data store that has become the backbone of caching and real-time operations for Fortune 500 companies. Do you notice a pattern? None of these started large. They started disciplined. They scaled because their architecture was sound, not because their initial footprint was massive. The lesson is this: scalability is an architectural property, not a size metric. A clean, well-designed core can expand infinitely. A bloated, tangled one becomes its own ceiling. Before defending Trongate's approach, let's take a moment to examine what you're actually getting with a traditional enterprise-ready framework. Let's start with a few basic statistics. The average Laravel installation pulls in 80+ dependencies. Symfony pulls in 50+. Each dependency has its own dependencies. If you ever find yourself in charge of one of those applications, you're responsible for monitoring security advisories for packages that you probably didn't know you were using. You're also responsible for managing version conflicts between nested dependencies. And we're not having a go at Laravel. In recent years, the guardians of Laravel have taken steps to create their own ecosystem. This is something to be applauded. Quite frankly, it puts Laravel ahead of many other PHP frameworks. So, let me be clear, we congratulate Laravel on all the things that they seem to be getting right. Our issue is not to do with any particular framework. What we're discussing is an epidemic of over-engineering and third-party dependency. And it's not just the PHP space where we see this. Go to Google News and search for NPM. I don't care when you're listening to this message. I can guarantee a search for NPM on Google News will reveal a never-ending horror story. And in this horror story, the main villains are supply chain attacks, malware, malicious packages, and other distinct threats within the NPM ecosystem. In any other upstanding industry, the idea of allowing perfect strangers to interfere with mission-critical assets would be unacceptable. In the web development industry, we've made it a best practice, and shame on all of us for allowing that to happen. No wonder most professional developers are in a state of fear, wondering when they'll be replaced by AI. In 2023 alone, over 200 critical vulnerabilities were discovered in popular PHP packages. Skip to 2025, and vulnerability disclosures hit record highs. Tens of thousands of new vulnerabilities were published last year, with critical flaws appearing every single day across the packagist ecosystem. How much of this dangerous code was in your dependency tree? Do you even know? Large frameworks advertise comprehensive feature sets. In practice, you'll use perhaps 20% of what's included. The remaining 80% still loads, still consumes memory, still represents attack surface. You're paying the performance penalty for features you'll never touch. Now, let's examine what enterprise-ready actually means and how Trongate delivers it without the baggage. 1. True modularity. Trongate's modular architecture isn't a marketing claim. It's a fundamental design principle. Are you building a payment gateway? Good. Add a PayPal module. Job done. What about authentication? Would you like an advanced authentication system? Good. Trongate has one. Use it. Or, if you prefer, build your own authentication system, but build it as a module. How about real-time features? How about single-page applications? Well, for that, you've got Trongate MX, a powerful JavaScript library that comes with every Trongate installation. With Trongate MX, your web applications can behave like modern desktop software. Let's talk about middleware. Trongate V2's interceptor system provides production-grade request handling. Audit logging? Nailed. Rate limiting? Easy. Security policies? That's child's play. Monitoring hooks? Request transformation? Trongate's interceptor system has you covered. All of this happens at the framework level, keeping your controllers focused on business logic. And unlike service containers or event buses, interceptors have predictable, traceable execution paths. Now, let's discuss the most underrated enterprise feature of all: zero dependencies. Trongate has zero third-party dependencies. This isn't puritanism, it's strategic risk management. I'm going to walk you through a hypothetical situation now. I want you to imagine that some kind of security vulnerability has been discovered, and maybe it's something you'd like to patch. Let's talk about the process you'll go through with other so-called enterprise frameworks. Step 1. You must wait for the package maintainer to release a patch. Step 2. You must wait for intermediate dependencies to update. Step 3. You must wait for the framework to update. Step 4. You must test your entire application against the update. Step 5. You must coordinate deployment across all environments. Timeline? It's days to weeks. That's assuming everyone acts quickly. Now let's assume the counter position. Let's assume a vulnerability is discovered in Trongate's core. I have to say that's extremely rare. As a matter of fact, it has never happened. Nevertheless, your process probably goes like this. Step 1. You patch it directly. The entire framework is right there. As a matter of fact, the entire framework's inner workings are small enough to fit into a single AI prompt. Are you paying attention? Let me say that again for anyone who didn't catch it the first time. The entire engine directory. And by the way, that contains all the inner workings of the framework. Well, you can go to any decent AI tool like Claude or ChatGPT, and you can paste in the entire inner workings of the framework. It's just one prompt, and that's all it takes. But in the case of Trongate, the code was actually designed from the ground up to be AI-friendly. So with Trongate, you don't even have to be a PHP expert to be productive. The code base is small and simple. Remember, there's no third-party code. If you have any problems, fine. Just head over to the forums and get help. Don't worry, it's free. The lesson from all of this should be crystal clear. If you care about things like maintenance, if you care about things like security, if you care about being able to get back on the road quickly when things go wrong, the truth is, you're far better off having a well-thought-out, compact framework than a bloated and tangled mess. Now, let's think about the long-term picture. Let's assume you're building an application that needs to run for 10 years with minimal maintenance. For some people, the idea of a web application running for 10 years sounds absurd. You may not build one every day, but they absolutely exist. In manufacturing, long-lived systems are the norm. In government, the timelines are even longer. Systems are built to outlast election cycles, policy shifts, and entire teams of developers. In areas like healthcare, these applications are expected to run quietly and reliably for decades. With those larger frameworks, you'd better hope that 80-plus packages remain maintained, compatible, and secure. Of course, you also have to budget for regular framework upgrades, and that's another hidden cost. The good news is there's a different path. With Trongate, the code you deploy today will run in 10 years' time. No upstream changes to track, no compatibility matrices to manage. It's all built to last, from the ground up. Some of you are going to say, but what about features X, Y, and Z? That's actually the wrong question. A much better question would be to ask the following. Does this framework provide a solid foundation for building the features we need? Example. Does Trongate have built-in WebSocket support? That answer is no, but neither does Laravel or Symfony. They integrate third-party libraries. Trongate lets you do the same integration without forcing you to use their abstraction layer. The PHP ecosystem is vast. You have access to every library that's ever been written for PHP. The difference is that Trongate doesn't force you to use them through a framework-specific adapter. Want to use Guzzle for HTTP requests? Use it. Want to use PHP Mailer? Use it. Want to use the PHP curl extension directly? Go ahead. Trongate is all about native PHP. For you, it's a blank canvas, and you can add or use anything you want. That's the whole point. Now, some of you might say, what about team familiarity? This objection assumes that framework-specific knowledge is more valuable than PHP knowledge. It isn't. A developer who understands PHP can read and modify Trongate code immediately. A developer who only knows a specific framework must relearn with each new project. Ask yourself, which developer is more valuable 5 years from now? The bottom line is this. Trongate is small because it's disciplined. It's fast because it's focused. It's secure because it's auditable. It's maintainable because it's explicit. These aren't trade-offs, they're advantages. I'd like to finish, if I may, by telling you about something that happened just the other day. On YouTube, somebody posted a comment about a video. Now, this video that the person was commenting on happened to be a video about Trongate v2. They said that they liked the introduction. They said that the video was nice. The word nice was used more than once. Then, this person went on and suggested that Trongate might be useful for small or medium projects. Let me give you a direct quote. They said, and I quote, "Even if Trongate didn't work for big projects, there's a ton of small to medium ones that could benefit from it anyways." End quote. Do you feel the disdain in that comment? Do you feel the subtle, smug, but unmistakably disrespectful tone? Can you feel it? Those of us who consider ourselves members of Team Trongate certainly can. Believe me, we understand the message entirely. Those kinds of underhand attacks, disguised as compliments, appear all too often. And when that energy presents itself, there's an expectation upon those of us who consider ourselves to be guardians of the framework. We're supposed to say, "Thanks for the like." We're supposed to nod our heads in approval. We're supposed to say, "We hope you give Trongate a try." We're supposed to be grateful for the fact that somebody left a nice comment. Fuck the comment. We don't want it. We don't need your compliments. We don't need your approval. You can keep your thumbs up. Now, that particular person isn't here to defend himself. And the truth is, he's probably a nice guy. If he were here, no doubt he'd say that he wasn't trying to be rude. Do you know what? He'd probably be right. In addition, I assume you didn't come here to get scolded by a space commander who has an addiction to pot noodles and a 20,000 IQ. But understand this. Some of us have put a great deal of work into the Trongate framework. To us, this isn't a game. It's perfectly okay to say that you don't like the Trongate framework. No doubt there are loads of people who won't like it for all sorts of perfectly valid reasons. However, if you're going to say something in public that is demonstrably false, demonstrably misinformed, well, in that instance, you can expect a robust response from our end. Anyone listening has the right to declare that small frameworks are only good for small projects. That's free speech, and we support it. However, by the same token, we are entitled to disagree. If you care about the Trongate framework, then we urge you to speak up when naysayers show up. Tell them that you disagree with their bullshit. Challenge them to defend their position. This is not a fight that we want, but the alternative is to sit back and to allow misinformation to spoil everything. Now, nobody from our end wants to be seen as being confrontational or unhinged. I can assure you, we'd much rather focus on the code. But the sad fact of the matter is, there are a lot of developers who cannot come to terms with the idea of there being an alternative and better way of doing things. Instead of changing, it's much easier for them to entertain some false narrative about the new way being insecure, unreliable, or inefficient. My friends, be in no doubt. What we're talking about here isn't just an issue to do with the Trongate framework, or even PHP, more broadly speaking. The entire IT industry is changing as we speak. AI has triggered a move away from bloated frameworks. The native PHP movement will not be dismissed with false narratives and hot air. We're just not having it. And the big news flash is, the same thing is happening with other web technologies. It's not just PHP, it's not just us. Across the JavaScript space, for example, massive numbers of developers are moving away from bloated, frequently rewritten frameworks, and instead they're choosing core technologies. That means pure JavaScript. It means pure CSS. Beautiful, simple, robust code finally being used the way that it was designed to be used. Critics will accuse them of being old-fashioned. The irony here is that the critics are endorsing practices that are now almost 20 years old. And so, my friends, the message is clear. If you find yourself at the receiving end of negative poison from naysayers, challenge them. If some guy tells you that small frameworks are only good for small projects, let him know that you disagree with his bullshit. At the very least, ask him to show you some clear evidence to back up whatever he's saying. That's the only way to deal with naysayers. Thank you for listening, and may God bless our beautiful web development revolution.